Good morning and welcome back to the Average Joe Magic the Gathering channel. Today I'm going to bring you two deck techs that are going to help you in building to your first decks and what to use your wild cards on. You know, a lot of people get started, they have a lot of wild cards and really don't know what they should be building. So today I'm going to help guide you to two of the cheaper options, and that's going to be mono blue and almost mono red. And I will explain why it's not mono red. But to get started, before we get into the game, I'm going to show you a very important tool that you can use and utilize that's going to help you out a lot. So we'll switch over, and if you go to MTG Goldfish Archetype Standard, so you're on the main website, you just go to Decks, Metagame, and then you can pull up the standard decks that have been competing, and then you can even see recent events and what people are running, how they're building it. But one of the coolest tools is if you click on mono blue tempo, for example, you can click arena and you can see exactly how many uncommons, rares, mythics, etc. that you need to be able to build this. Then you can hit export to Magic Arena, copy this list, go back to Arena, hit import, and it's imported. Now, you will see that when you import it, that you probably don't have all the cards that you need to have. And that's okay. One of the problems too is, like, for example, it says I don't have 4 ops. So we'll take those out, put in the op that we actually have, and everything's fine. It also says that we're missing a Mystical Herald. I don't have it, but it's uncommon, so that's super easy to add. Merfolk Trickster, again, that's a rare, so we're just going to supplement those. Wow. Warkite Marauder we'll get rid of. Tempest Gen, I don't have wild cards, but those are a key thing. And Wizard Retort we're just going to get rid of. So now we're left with about 10 spots. The other thing too is on Arena, the mana is not as forgiving as it is in real life, just because people don't shuffle correctly. So we're going to knock this up to 22 to have a more consistent base. And then we'll add in some Blink of an Eyes. More evasion creatures, and then some more evasion, and that'll be good enough. It's not perfect, but it'll work. What? Oh, sideboard. Bam. There we go. Delete. And then you can do the same for mono red aggro. You can just go here, go to Arena, see what it requires, export, and then copy it. So that's just a really great tool, very useful, easy to do, and I highly recommend that you check it out. There's a lot of great resources on there. And then we're going to get to the almost mono red. So for the most part, this is built like a mono red deck. You know, you got your Fanatic Firebrands, your Lava Runners, Shock. Lava Coil is normally in the sideboard, but again, this is a budget video, so I don't have all the lava coils, lava coils and other cards that I need, so it's a filler card right now. 4 lightning strikes, should have 4 runaway steamkins, but again, I don't have the wild cards for them, so got 2. 4 pyromancers. Carronade again is just a filler card, but it also does a lot of work, just like lava coil. 2 Fight with Fires, again filler card or sideboard card, but it does a lot of work. It takes care of a lot of things. 4 Chain Whirlers, this is your #1 card that you want to be spinning your wild cards on first. If you're going to go mono red, it's just an amazing card. Legion War Boss. Some people use it main deck, some people use it as a sideboard, and some people don't use it at all. I found when this card is unchecked, like it just stays on the board and no one deals with it, it just takes over a game, even within a couple turns. Risk factors. A lot of people don't run this anymore, but to me, 3 mana, 4 damage, or 3 cards is just great. I mean, you really can't complain about the value that you get out of a risk factor. Early game, late game, it doesn't matter. Like, it's either doing damage or it's drawing you cards. I don't know why people are going away from this, because I think it's a great card, so I run it, and I'm going to stick to it until it stops being useful. Because even if it gets countered and it goes to the graveyard, I can still jumpstart it next turn and they have to waste another counter, so I'm still getting a 2-for-1. Wizard Lightning, again, you want to use this only when you have like your Lava Runner or your Pyromancer out. That way it only costs 1 mana, 3 damage. Great card. You want 4 of them. So I'm actually going to be crafting those. And I will be taking out some other cards. And then for Experimental Frenzy, again, this is a card that left on the board just does a ton of damage to your opponent because you just overwhelm the board state and you're able to completely run away with the game. Rekindling Phoenix, if this lands, it is incredibly hard for a lot of people to deal with. A lot of more people are running Lava Coil, so it's getting easier, but again, it's still just a great card, and if it sticks around for a little bit, it will close out the game enough where you can either burn them out or do like a Pyromancer to the face and then burn them. I'm going to be cutting Fiery Cannonade for the Wizard Lightning. And then I need to cut one more card. Probably going to be the Lava Coil. We're going to run it like that. So one of the reasons that I'm not going mono red with this deck is I found Demystify to be an amazing card that has completely changed the tides of games and has made the mono red deck a lot stronger. Obviously with this card you want 4 of them because it is one of your key cards, and you also would prefer to have 4 Clifftop Retreats, 4 Sacred Foundries. I like 1 Evolving Wilds because all I need is 1 Plains. It doesn't matter about the mountains, I'm not using it for that, so I think this is a great card because if I get it turn, I would probably run 4 of these. Maybe not. Maybe 2. 1. I don't know. Definitely 4 Clifftop Retreats. Definitely 4 Sacred Foundries. Maybe 1 Evolving Wilds just so you can ensure you get that Plains, but since it does put it into the battlefield tapped, it's not the best. And then 17 Mountains. So, again, you can see we're trying to go for about 22 lands because it's an aggro-based deck. You want to be fast. You don't need that many lands because your curve is pretty low, topping out at the Rekindling Phoenix and Experimental Frenzy. But just for example, some of the things that this card deals with that makes it so great is things like a Johnny's Welcome, which can give them so much life gain that it takes over the game and you have no way to come back from it. It takes care of Curious Obsession, one of the key cards that allows the mono blue deck to take over and win the game. You shut down their card drawing engine, you turn their 1-1 back into a 1-1, and now it can be Chain Whirlered. Can take care of Gift of Paradise on lands. You name it. There's just so many different options and it's so versatile. I've just found that it's really helped change the win percentage of this deck by being able to deal with different enchantments. Another great one that left unchecked and just has the ability to really ruin your day is Search for Azcanta. Again, you get to get rid of this turn 2, you just shut down their whole engine and it's going to slow them down a lot, and that's what you want. You want to slow down your opponent, get rid of the threats that allow them to stretch out the game, get to the late game when you're playing mono red. So that's why I run the Demystify. Again, a lot of these cards are filler, but you can see the staples in each of these decks. For mono red, it's going to be the Steamkin, the Chain Whirler, and the Experimental Frenzies. The Lightnings, the Shocks, those are all pretty much given to you already, so you don't really have to build those. And then the rest you can just fill in with cheap creatures. You can look at MTG Goldfish to see more cards that you could add in, take out. And then for the mono blue, I pretty much showed you what you can add and take out. Curious Obsessions, one of the cards that you will have to craft 4 of, but it is the key and heart of this deck. It's what gets you turning through your deck, being able to find your threats, counter spells, and other options. Dive Down, again, crucial for this. It protects anything that has Curious Obsession on it. Mist-Cloaked Herald's great target for Curious Obsession since it can't be blocked. Just cycling through your deck. Siren Storm Tamer is to protect, again, anything that has that Curious Obsession on it, because this can even counter Planeswalkers. Spell Pierce, just counter magic spell. This is one that you could use as a filler. You could add more of these, not a bad option. It's great early game, not so great late game. Blink of an Eye, this is good early or late. It can mess up their tempo, and then late game when you have the mana for it, it's drawing you a card. Charter Course, same thing. You're going to be attacking with anything that has Curious Obsession on it, so you're going to get 2 cards and not have to just discard any. Again, you saw I put this in as a filler. That's all it is. It has flying, so it has evasion, so it's not that easy to take down unless they want to waste a burn spell on it. Trickster is just a good combat trick. It can sometimes completely change the tides of a battle. Again, I put this in for evasion because it can't be blocked. Exclusive Mage is kind of a filler card. It's not bad, but again, it keeps with the tempo base. And Tempest Gen. This is your #1 craft. If you want to run a tempo deck, that's going to help you learn how to think about your opponent's threats, what you need to worry about and deal with. This is a great deck, but you do want to spend your wild cards on Tempest Gen. He is one of the key things. If I had to pick things to craft first, it would be 4 Tempest Gens, 4 Curious Obsessions, and 4 Mist-Cloaked Heralds if you don't have them. Outside of that, you could run all counter magic spells and what's called cantrips, like Opt. Cantrips are just ways to draw cards. If you just ran 4 Storm Tamers, which you get, 4 Curious Obsessions, 4 Dive Downs, 4 Heralds, 4 Gens, and just cantrips and counter magic, you'd probably still do really great. This deck does not need much. It's going to feel weak some games and very underwhelming, and then some games it's just going to feel like it's broken. And that all relies on if you get an early Curious Obsession in your hand and you're allowed to start drawing cards with it. And then if you get a turn 3, turn 4 Gen that you can generally you want to do it on turn 4 because you want 3 mana to be able to put it down, and then you want 1 mana to be able to dive it down or use your Storm Tamer. You never want to lay this down without a way to protect it. So that's the decks that I would work towards crafting. I hope you guys like this video and have a great day.